Half Hour. We're coming from the Somerset County 4-H Fair, and this year is especially significant because it marks the 50th anniversary of the Somerset County 4-H organization. My first guests tonight represent 2 of 3 generations that have been involved in the 4-H. So I want to welcome Judy and Mindy Coates. Welcome. Mindy, hi.
Hi.
And Judy,
Hi, Joe.
hi. Now, your family has been involved in 4-H for a long time, and would you describe how your family first became involved in this?
Sure, I'd love to. My dad, John Everett, was a charter member of the New Center Dairy 4-H Club, which was organized in 1930, which is actually 68 years ago, before the fair actually even started. It was a dairy club. It was all farm youth that were raised on dairy farms, and we're the second oldest continuing club in New Jersey and the oldest in Somerset County. I'm currently a leader of the club right now. Back when I was in 4-H in the 50s, there were a lot of dairy farms and maybe 5 or 6 dairy clubs. Now we're down to 2 small clubs. But my dad was a charter member, and my brothers and I were members after that, and now my daughter Mindy's a member currently.
Okay, so that's 3 generations in the dairy club. How many people are members of the dairy club today?
Actually, this year we have 18 members in our club. Last year, the numbers vary year to year. Last year we had like 23. But today, most of the kids do not live on dairy farms. A lot of them live in towns and in the suburbs, and actually have loan-a-calf, or part of the loan-a-calf program. Mindy's in that program also, as we don't live on a dairy farm right now. Maybe she could tell you about that.
Yes, would you please?
Well, the loan-a-calf program is during the summer, the 4-Hers go to a farm. They let us borrow a cow, and we teach them how to lead on a halter and wash them and get them all cleaned up for the fair. And so it just teaches us responsibility on caring for the animal, and just and we also, through the loan-a-calf program, it's a lot of mentoring goes on. Like, when I was younger, I used to learn a lot from the older members, and now as an older member, I find myself teaching the younger members about showing cows.
All right. And how long have you been in 4-H, Mindy?
I started 4-H 12 years ago in 4-H prep, and I was in that for 2 years, and then I joined a whole bunch of clubs, and I've been in the New Center Dairy Club for 10 years, and currently I'm also in the 4-H Exchange Club, which it's a very active club in the county as well.
Okay. Now, how has being in 4-H enriched your lives?
Actually, 4-H is really part of our whole family structure. 4-H is really family. My dad first, and then all my brothers and myself, and everybody in 4-H is like one big family. Your friends, you maybe don't see them, some of them, until fair time, but it's like a coming together. It's different for when you're in school. When you're in 4-H, you see kids that are from throughout the county, so it's a different pairing of kids. When kids are in school, they have one group of friends at school. They come to 4-H, and they might have a friend that's from Far Hills or from South Plainfield or other parts of the county that they would never have a chance to meet, and they might become their really good friends. So that's another good part of 4-H, I think. But there's a lot of life skills that kids learn in 4-H. They learn about standing up and talking. They learn about giving public presentations. There's a lot of leadership chances that kids have to learn actual leadership and citizenship skills. And 4-H is a really good organization, and we're all for it.
Yes, and Mindy, what would you add to that?
Well, I would just add that 4-H is a great opportunity for anyone to join. If you live on a farm, or if you don't like animals, there's an opportunity for everyone to join in and learn about what you like to do. And I just totally promote it. And it's just a great organization. You learn a lot of responsibility, and leadership skills, as my mom said, and so probably without 4-H, I probably wouldn't be able to stand up here and be on TV, most likely.
But years ago, 4-H was mostly farm kids, as probably most of you know. It was a lot of dairy kids, sheep, goats, horses. Today, there's still an important part of 4-H that's the livestock. A lot of people come to the fair looking to see the animals, but there's a lot of other parts to 4-H too. We have rockets, remote control cars, go-karts, science clubs, home ec's been around a long time too, but a lot of other mechanical sciences, computers, newspaper clubs, just about any interest that you get 2 or 3 kids together, an adult that's willing to work with them, and you have a club. And it's by working together on an interest that the kids have that they have the opportunity to get these important lessons, life skill lessons, and learn them.
And the fact that your family has been involved in it for so long is ample testimony to the type of organization it is.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you, Judy and Mindy, for being my guests tonight. And certainly.
One other advertisement. At the fair this year, we have an alumni tent, and at the alumni tent, we're celebrating the 50 years that the Somerset County has had a fair. We have lots of pictures, lots of memorabilia, and lots of reminiscing going on down in the alumni tent. So anyone that's been a 4-H alumni, and even if you haven't, welcome to come down and visit us down there.
Well, that's really great. All right, well, thank you so much. And
Okay.
we will now show you some footage of the fair itself. I'm with Don Esposito of the Somerset County Cultural and Heritage Commission, and this organization is once again sponsoring the Hall Mills murder trial, a theatrical presentation of the famous trial that took place here in Somerset County back in 1926. Now, Don, could you give us a brief background of the trial and the case itself?
The trial came about because of the murder of a minister and his mistress. The body was found, and strewn around the body were love letters from his mistress. His calling card was propped up in the grass. Her body was next to his. Her throat had been slit, her vocal cords removed, and her tongue cut out. Now, initially, the case came to Somerset County because it happened just over the line in Somerset County. Initially, there was a grand jury investigation, but they didn't find enough evidence at the time. Later on, when the Hall's maid...
Yes, and Reverend Hall was the minister who was murdered, and Mrs. Mills, the choir singer.
Right, should have said that right off. When the Hall's maid got a divorce from her husband, he charged that she had received $5,000 as a payoff to keep quiet, and he was entitled to a piece of that. That reopened the case, and that led to the trial.
All right, and it's been nearly 70 years since that trial. In fact, it's been more than 70 years, and yet it maintains a certain mystique, kind of like the Titanic. What is the attraction about this trial that separates it from all others?
Well, it's extremely fascinating because of the event that happened, the way that a woman was killed, and then sensation that it brought at the time, a minister being involved. It's never been clear who did it. There was some thought that Mrs. Hall and her family had contracted to have it done, that they were involved, but it was sufficiently clouded and it's sufficiently puzzling that when you look at it, you're not quite sure. It could be, but maybe it's not. Now, obviously, Mrs. Hall was found guilty along with her brothers, but it's fascinating, all the details. In fact, the testimony taken fills 26 volumes of transcripts, and it is fascinating.
Yes. And the case remains to this day officially unsolved.
That's correct. Who knows? Maybe a diary will appear within the next year or the next week that will shed sufficient light on it that could possibly solve the case. But at this time, it is an unsolved mystery that we don't know about.
All right. And last year, which was the first year he did this theatrical presentation, it was a sellout. And when will it be portrayed again this year?
Okay, yes, it was a sellout. We've increased the number of performances till 9. It will be running November, and I'm going to read the dates so I don't, November 6th, 7th, and 8th, November 13th, 14th, and 15th, the 20th, 21st, 22nd. Now, we do anticipate it to be a sellout, so if you want some tickets, it's area code 732-873-3009. That's area code 732-873-3009. And it's held in the same courthouse where the trial was held. And the courthouse has been restored to its original state as it was in 1926. So you have a rather dramatic production held in a setting that was exactly the same as it was in 26. And maybe this time we'll solve it.
Well, I saw the production last year, and it was outstanding, and I highly recommend it, and I plan to see it again this year. So thank you very much, Don, and continued success with this effort, and may it run for many more years.
Well, thank you very much. It goes to a worthy cause.
Okay, thank you. I'm talking now with Sam Connard, who is a judge in the poultry tent, and right now we're undergoing a poultry judging. Sam, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, what do you look for when you're judging poultry?
Well, basically, I'm judging these birds on how well they'll produce eggs and produce meat when they're done with the eggs. They're called dual-purpose birds. And I'll take them out and check their bone structure and make sure there aren't any bruises or blisters on their breastbone. That's the most important thing.
Okay, now suppose we bring one out and you describe the process as you're doing it.
I did this one. Let's get another one here. This happens to be a Rhode Island red I got here. And we'll look at the eyes there and see how nice and clear they are.
Yes.
The comb's bright red. And we'll flip it over here and check out the breastbone. That's nice and straight, but this one has a little bit of a blister right there.
Oh.
I know whether your camera can pick that up. I'll flip it over to see how the egg producing capacity is. And it has 2 bones coming out here. And generally you see how many fingers you can fit between there. I can fit 2 between there, so that means it's a pretty good layer.
Oh.
So it's laying eggs pretty good yet.
Okay. Now that doesn't hurt them to hold them upside down like that?
No, it calms them right down as soon as you pick them up like that and turn them over. And I check the legs, and how bright the legs are determines on how much they're laying. If they're faded like this one, means they're really laying pretty good. That's basically about it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Sam.
You're welcome.